This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime. In association with Micromax. Nothing like anything.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at a whole host of aspects on how you can study in the UK. What course to pick, how to identify the college that is right for you, visas, scholarships, you name it. Well, we hope it's been of some use to you. Your questions, of course, keep throwing them at us, and we're going to try and get the experts to answer. Today, we have a very bright, young and accomplished group with us to talk about a whole host of things that perhaps you didn't know studying in the UK brings. And also, all those who want to go to the UK, and some questions that we are hoping are going to pose directly to this group that has studied in the UK, come back and now very successful in their own right. We have students from one of India's top schools, the Sri Ram School, the British school students as well with us. And like I said, a bright bunch of those who've studied come back and can't wait, I'm sure, to share their experiences with the rest. Thanks all so much for joining us. I'll start by asking you, you've studied in the UK. Now, how did you take the decision? I mean, how did you sort of identify what you wanted to study? Where on the map do you want to go? How does one take that decision?
So I'm a lawyer, so it becomes a little easy for me to shortlist the places that I want to do my master's in, because there are a couple of jurisdictions that you could probably pursue your master's in, so that it gets easier for you. You have the choice to probably come back or stay there. So UK was the obvious choice for me. A lot of the laws in India are based out of UK laws, and there are also authorities in certain other fields. So whenever there is some kind of confusion with respect to Indian laws, we refer to UK laws. So UK was the obvious choice for me, particularly intellectual property law. That was an area of interest. Luckily, I knew that that's the field that I wanted to pursue my master's in.
Is that unusual, really? I mean, if I could ask you, is that sort of unusual, that kind of clarity on, this is what I want, and this is where I'm going to get it? I mean, what's been your experience in your peer group?
My experience in the UK was fantastic. In fact, when I planned to go down to the UK, I wanted to study accounting and finance. And after looking at different places, I particularly found that UK was the best place to study accounting and finance, because it was a natural progression to go down to do your chartered accountancy at that point in time when I went down to the UK.
If I could just ask you, for all those who we've been speaking to, and they've been saying there's just so much on offer. It's just all over the world. There's so much on offer. We just don't know what we are cut out to do. In your experience, what would you say?
I think when you go to college, you don't necessarily need to know beforehand what is it that you want to do when you come out. I think the college education helps you, form your views, and you learn from others. You get a lot of exposure. So when I studied at the London School of Economics, I got an 80% scholarship to study there. The exposure to different fields of work was just so much. I joined Goldman Sachs after LSE because the investment banking was all over. When you go to LSE, you can't help but want to be an investment banker. You can't escape it. But equally, there were enough companies coming on campus for different domains, whether it could be accounting or insurance or even media or international organizations. So I think you have the choice to go and explore different fields and make up your mind what you want to do.
So you're saying that you weren't sort of restricted. It sort of opened up a whole new world. I mean, you name it, and you could have perhaps if you were interested.
Yeah, I'm saying when I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but when I came out, I knew exactly what I wanted.
Is that sort of your experience as well? Does that really tend to happen? Because I'm sure that will put many people at ease, many students and their parents at ease, that, we constantly say, isko pata nahi hai. It's bilkul nahi pata hai, no idea, So that kind of anxiety.
Absolutely. So I went to the UK straight after my undergrad in Delhi, and one of the things one of the reasons I chose the UK was it was either the US or the UK, and the UK gave me a 9-month program. So as somebody who's just finishing an undergrad, and I studied social development and human rights, so the University of Sussex gave me that opportunity, and like you were saying, it did open your mind a lot.
Right, and I can see lots of people agreeing. I mean, to that? I guess there's no...
I went for my postgrad to LSE as well in international relations. I went after my master's in JNU. So the point is that right now I currently teach in LSR as a guest lecturer for political science. And I think it gives a completely different perspective because, you know, you come back with a lot of experience, lot of knowledge, and it's just not knowledge with, you know, academics, you know, where, you know, you're interacting with so many people. And when you come back, you know, the students that you're teaching, they are the future of India, you know. And you keep, you know, you keep talking to them and you interact with them and they are, you know, you share your experience with them. And I think, in my opinion, UK gives you the platform and, you know, for a destination where you can actually make it big in your life. Yeah.
I just want to hear from, say, the students at the back. What is it that sort of you want to do up ahead after school? What's the kind of education? Are you looking to go, say, out for your undergrad, postgrad? Do you sort of have clarity? I mean, you look really young, but when does it start? Because at the same time, for a lot of people, especially my generation, who had no clue what was going on, there are loads of others now who sort of who have the road ahead charted very early on, and they sort of know what they're headed for. What's it like for you?
I mean, right now, it's pretty competitive, so people decide at a very early stage. Unfortunately, I haven't yet. So
that's okay. There's plenty of time.
So I've kept all my options open, but I'm honestly focusing going abroad.
What about you?
I do know I want to stay on in academics, and abroad sort of lets you explore a lot more disciplines because interdisciplinary stuff is it's much more common over there than here in India right now, and that's something that's always interested me. So that's perhaps why I'm looking out.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I want to pursue economics and psychology, and actually I was facing problem because many colleges don't offer economics and psychology as a course because psychology is considered as a natural science, whereas economics is social science. But now I found some colleges fortunately in UK that do offer. There's St. Andrews, Durham, and even UCL. And I'm really looking forward to studying in UK because they give you that flexibility and you can choose between different modules. So you have that flexibility and, you know, a global perspective studying at some of the top colleges. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And that global perspective, I think, is something that everyone sort of is in agreement with. Someone mentioned earlier that how, maybe it was you, someone mentioned earlier when we were talking about how, you know, it's like being a global citizen.
I've worked with people who've innovated at that level and who've built companies and who've actually done groundbreaking stuff. So that gives me a huge confidence boost, which tells me that, you know what, I can do and I can innovate at that level as well. And actually go out and deliver in the UK and in India and across the world. So I think it's very important.
And those networks, I would imagine, very important for everybody.
So the idea is that you get connected to such people and they eventually branch out into these different industries. And then you have a base. So you have that network. And when you're back here, when you're back in India, you can always make use of that network and, you know, get your things worked out over there. Maybe for yourself, maybe for your company. So the network, it does help, Now,
I just want to ask another question to all those who've been out, which is, all these are, of course, advantages that perhaps you sort of discovered as you went along. But what was the main reason, the key reason why you chose to study abroad, why you chose to go to the UK?
I did my master's from London Business School. So one of my major reasons of going to the UK was because of the school, was because of London Business School. And primarily, one, it had a good brand and reputation. Then secondly, it was London. It is historical, it is financial, it is modern, it is dynamic, it is very vibrant. So both the factors. And then again, it had the course of my choice.
I'd just like to add to what my friend here just said, that one of the reasons that why I went to the UK to study was the value that a UK degree adds to your profile. Besides the course that you study, I think what is even more important is that when employers look at you, they identify a degree from a leading UK university with a certain set of skills, a certain set of values, and a certain set of qualities that you possess. So say if I graduate from LSE, my employer would know that I'm very likely to, have a good work ethic, good and effective communication skills. I'm going to be having a good understanding of
basically everything that he's looking for.
Yeah, so it gives you that edge, definitely gives that edge in the employment sector, be it in India, in the UK, or anywhere else in the world.
Right.
So that was definitely one of the reasons why I went to the UK to study.
Has that been your experiences?
I studied at King's College London, and I studied from some of the best minds there. I've studied from people who've actually written the books, who've actually given out those judgments. So you learn from the best, and you learn with people who have either, and varied fields, like they have experience for 10 years, they're lawyers with experience of 10 years, and they're fresh undergrads like me. So you're learning in a conducive environment where you can actually discuss with the stalwarts what your views on that particular subject is. So your knowledge base increases tremendously.
In my school, we had very different ways of also, if you talk about career services, we had peer leadership programs in which second year MBAs, they would help us prepare with interview questions. They'll help us, prepare even the personal questions. You had a nice career portal which had ad for jobs from all over the world. We had different networking workshops. So those kind of opportunities are just available there.
The mode of teaching is very, very different. The mode of teaching and learning, if you compare it to India, is that's my personal experience. India is more examination based. They're more discussion based. So they facilitate basically they encourage students to understand the topic and not just learn it, but to understand it and to comprehend it.
Like all the UK universities, irrespective whether it's LSE, Manchester, Leicester, they all really focus on sports, and there's so many different clubs. So it's a good opportunity for you guys to interact with your classmates, your potential colleagues in future, to kind of gel along with them over there.
Right, and that all-rounded development, well, are you one of those who's hoping to study abroad? Are you hoping? Yeah.
I would just like to ask those who've studied in UK that what sets UK apart from US?
UK is more global. So like LBS had students from different countries, and just about 4 months ago I visited the US. My brother is studying at Harvard Business School. You can sense the diversity. There are more Americans over there, while UK is much more global. So it gives you a more international perspective.
Yeah, another point is, an average course in the UK, that is usually 3 years. In the US, most of the courses are 4 years, so you actually end up saving 1 year. Also, UK is in the Europe, right? So you have the opportunity to kind of have a look at 30 different countries. Any weekend you can just kind of plan your schedule and just go for any weekend to any of the countries that are around. So that's really cool, I think.
Right, we've all done that. They say as we talk about traveling and all that that the UK brings. We're slipping into a quick break now. Coming up after that, we've looked at studying and the kind of courses that you can study, why, how you choose where you want to be, and all of that. Now we're going to ask those who've been there, what else besides travel? What was all the other cultural experiences that they had? What about all the partying? What about telling our youngsters and all the fun they can have there as well? That's coming up right after this.